Hello, I'm Nat Irvin, the founder of Thrivals 3.0, and welcome to this web version of Thrivals 3.0. What you're going to see by visiting us here is a collection of what happened on that day. We've got 7 presentations. The first one is the extraordinary presentation by the author of The Global Brain, The Evolution of the Mass Mind from the Big Bang to the 21st Century. That's Howard Bloom. A fascinating conversation between Bloom and Lakshmi Singh. That was then followed by an interview with David Robinson. Now, you know David Robinson because he's the son of Jackie Robinson. And David tells the story of having grown up to be the son of Jackie Robinson, but then what happens in his life when he decides to leave his home, comfortable home of living in Greenwich, Connecticut, New York, to go to Tanzania and find a new family, and then work with the people there to take this global commodity we call coffee, and to work with the people there to get it on the global mercantile exchange. It's a great story. The audience, you'll love the questions, the back and forth questions that happens between David Robinson and the audience. By the way, I should tell you that we had that day over 600 participants, people of all ages, races, ethnicities, cultures, engaged in a marvelous learning experience of understanding and exploring the theme of Thrivals 3.0, which was the global brain, exploring the power of our imagination, human imagination, creativity, and what happens next. Other things you'll want to look for is, we also had from time to time during the day these edge questions. We did things like this. We'd have the audience to stop and ask themselves a question, 3 questions. First one was, what are you optimistic about? Now, you won't be able to get the real sense of what that was like, but you'll want to know that that was a part of what would happen in between the speeches, or the conversations, is that the audience would get a chance to engage in some aspect of further deeper conversation of what they just experienced on stage as a result of something the speaker may have said. So that's something else that's a part of the Thrival experience. Then the conversation with Nichelle Nichols, whom everybody knows as being Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek. A conversation with Janelle Monáe and Lieutenant Uhura, talking about, Nichelle Nichols, talking about what it was like to be the first black person to go into space. Not literally, but through Star Trek, she did. And the conversation that she had with Martin Luther King, a fascinating conversation there. That was followed by a provocative look into leadership, personal development, led by John Kabara. His talk was called Tapping into the Global Brain and the Power of Your Own Social Network. There was a great response from the audience. The Thrival Hive question that followed that one was, what have you changed your mind about? And what we would have from time to time throughout the day, in addition to, as I mentioned, the Thrival Hives, is you'd have someone from Wonderland, and that Wonderland is the group that's associated with Janelle Monáe and Wonderland, and I'll talk about that just more in a minute. But you'd have members of that team to go on stage and to talk about their own views. For example, what have they changed their minds about? Can creativity be taught? Those kinds of questions. That's a part of the web version as well. So you'll want to look for that. The last 2 things, last 2 presentations were done by Anthony Jewett and Marquise Brown. These are the co-founders and vice chairman of a group called the National Center for Global Engagement. They're really producing Thrivals around the world, and they talked about their experience, how they're doing it, and perhaps maybe even if you're interested in their work, you can learn something from them as well. Finally, the day ended, or the day almost ended, with a presentation exploring the power of human imagination and creativity, and this was led by the whole Wonderland team. That's Nate Rocket Wonder, Chuck Joseph, Janelle Monáe, and all of the members of the Wonderland team who joined us for Thrivals 3.0. Then, of course, the night ended with a concert by Janelle Monáe in Wonderland. And so just a fascinating day, a learning event that we hope that you will experience in some way. Even though you weren't there personally, you will experience it in some way by going through this web experience. Hey, send us your reactions to Thrivals 3.0 at thrivals@gmail.com. Thrivals, Thrivals @gmail.com. Thank you.